Cool. Okay, we got some time. I'm excited for this. Some familiar faces in the crowd, some new ones. Guys, what I am here to talk to you about is the future. And hopefully, by the end of this little presentation, you are going to realize that everything that all of you are doing is set up for success. That you can't help but win as long as you stay in the game. And the reason for that, the reason why you cannot help but win as long as you survive over the next few years, is because the single greatest challenge that all of us face, which is security, is going to be solved in the way that matters most over the next 4 years. Okay? The scariest problem we've ever and always had in crypto is a solvable one, and we're close. Now, this might seem like a big shock because those of us who are watching the industry today, those of us who are living day to day, understand that this is probably the ugliest year in the history of our industry for hacks. We're talking upwards of $3.5 billion stolen, and that doesn't include hacks, that doesn't include phishing, that doesn't include the things that go unreported, like sus Chinese mining farms that get insider attacked by each other. More billions lost there, in many cases a multiple of this. It was a pretty rough year. And if we survey, looking backwards, over the last, say, 10 or 15 years of the industry, we can look at the low end and be like, okay, $10, $15 billion in hacks over this time. We can look at the high end and multiply that according to Bitcoin's appreciation and see how ugly and how brutal things have been. Huge single, maybe low double-digit portions of the net industry wealth created, stolen or lost to theft and crime. Not ideal. We may not have been doing so well there. This is the worst year for hacks on record. Okay? And before you guys say, oh, well, it was just the Bybit hack. Oh, well, doesn't that explain everything? Guys, hacks follow a power law pattern. There's a Bybit hack every single year. There's going to continue being something like that every single year. It's part of the pattern, not the exception. So I know it's been a rough year. 2025 was painful. But things may not be what they appear, because under the surface, many things have changed throughout our industry. Many things have changed in an exciting and positive direction. While we have all been bleeding out and having our entrails spill from all these hacks, it's been horrible to deal with this stuff, we've also been building. We've also been designing new technologies. We've been pushing the envelope forward, and finally, after many years of work, we're starting to see those results. Because at the same time, while 2025 was a disaster for hacks and crypto, it was actually the best year on record if we look at on-chain vulnerabilities and on-chain hacks. For crypto as a whole, 2025 was bad. But for DeFi in particular, for on-chain infrastructure specifically, this was the best year in the history of our industry, bar none, and it's not close. For the first time, we got under 1% of total TVL in DeFi contracts, depending on how you want to define that, and here defined relatively conservatively. We got under 0.3% in total losses. Consider that last year was 4 to 5 times that number. 4 to 5 times. Almost half an order of magnitude down in 2025 relative to the previous one. And more than that, we have a trajectory to get that number even lower. Here at Immunefi, we believe that we can get that number for total hacks, but starting just with the on-chain components, under 10 basis points of all value on-chain in DeFi contracts per year. And at those levels, we're starting to get to a point where crypto becomes safer than traditional financial institutions, than traditional financial options. Technically speaking, famous last words, technically speaking, we're already there. We have the means, we have the tools, And the early signs are showing that we really can create bulletproof code that can operate and protect billions of dollars at global scale with 24/7 uptime. But the challenge is, it's not equally distributed. Before we go into that, I want to explain to you what exactly is going on here, what we figured out. Because what we figured out is a simple, fundamental truth, something that anybody here who does security is already going to be familiar with. This simple security principle, what we call the Swiss cheese model, or if you're familiar with traditional military tactics, you would call this defense in depth, where you have multiple interlocking layers of defense that, while any one of them is breachable, any one of them can be compromised, any one of them can be hacked, all of them in composite, all of them in union with each other, as a layer, 1, 2, 3, 4, block any and every possible threat and possible vulnerability. And this simple principle we've been testing over the last 5 years. We keep adding new layers. Audits was the first, right? Bug bounties, what we innovated on at Immunefi, the second. Monitoring solutions, effectively on-chain antivirus, the third. Firewalling, still in testing right now. Continuous integration and defenses right into your development pipeline being tested right now, and various other applications, fuzzing, formal verification approaches, and so on. All these things have started to prove themselves. It turns out that these 3, 4, 5 layers in the stack really are enough to create code that is effectively unhackable. And if you're curious, all of you guys building today, you want to know what that looks like? That's the 5 major components here. Well, 5, 6, 7, depending on how you want to count it. Number 1, integration into your development pipeline of vulnerability detection solutions. This is still early, but think AI vulnerability detectors that are working with your developers on every commit to provide kind of small or mini audits. We do this at Immunefi, yes, on the AI side, but also with security researchers, making sure every piece of code is checked at the earliest possible time. This is one thing that's proving to be a best practice. Everybody in the industry is going to be using this by the end of 2026 or mid-2027. Number 2, of course, audits, which have gone through incredible leaps and bounds, really proven themselves, especially with the rise of new fuzzing techniques and the application of formal verification, once considered a kind of academic theoretical toy, now applied in the real world to crypto to create unhackable code. Number 3, bug bounties, of course, proving themselves at scale, both the traditional kind and safe harbor implementations. Number 4, monitoring solutions, and then a new entrant, firewalling solutions, okay, which is still in the early phases of being tested, but it's going to have a really dramatic impact in further cutting down even these small numbers of hacks that we are seeing on the on-chain side, and eventually also protecting against the traditional financial side, because that still needs to be done. We also started introducing a few new layers. One of those is social monitoring, starting to cut down on hacks. And the final is treasury security, because that's the big thing. If you want to know where most of the hacks, a majority, or I think just about a majority of hacks last year occurred, it was on treasury security, specifically exchanges with their centralized infrastructure or their wallets getting compromised. And that's an area now that we're learning and applying how to defend against. We're basically there with what we need. This is the stack that's going to take us to protecting trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars at scale. We don't need another technical breakthrough. Oh. There's a little lag there. Let's see if we can go back one. Well, we can't really go back. Oh, there we go. So the long and short of it is we finally have security in the industry. This is the last big challenge. We won the regulatory wars. We created products that are really, really good, really, really exciting financial products that are better than what my banks here in Portugal can deliver me. And now we have security that can support even the most demanding of institutional and in the future governmental requirements. And it works, it's simple, it's enough. The central challenge is no longer, can we secure this infrastructure? Can we prove that it's safe? We already did. The central challenge is, can we adopt it? And that's what we've solved now with the next iteration of Immunefi. Those of you who have heard, we've created the Immunefi platform, aggregating the best of every provider, the best of every implementation of this stack, not just from us at Immunefi, but from the best security firms in crypto as a whole, into one unified security stack that is trivial, that is effortless to adopt, so that you don't have to stitch it all together, you don't have to figure out, you don't have to do the vetting process. We already did. You just have to double check it, validate it, feel good about it, and then adopt it in an ultra efficient way. We have over 100 protocols using this system right now to cover their entire defense in depth, to create a system that is effectively unbreachable for them. And there are hundreds more coming. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final gap to moving from an unsafe Wild West crypto to a developed, civilized, incredibly prosperous crypto where, God willing, you guys are also all rich and all your projects work out for the best. This one gap. Well, there's a video here, but I don't think it's going to work, so we're just going to have to skip that. Let's see if we can. Oh. Is it going to work? No, it's not going to work. The long and short of it is the last great problem when thinking about crypto security is the adoption. Everything else is solvable. The technical problems, the hardest, stickiest problem, the kind of scientific-y, so to speak, problem. The place where we needed a breakthrough was in creating unhackable or ultra-secure code. And now we've done that, and we've proven that out with years of data under the most demanding of conditions. So much so that we're even seeing attackers shift away from smart contract exploits and begin targeting operational security, begin going after the human element, because they can no longer crack the code itself. We've achieved a version, the beginnings of the holy grail of truly secure code. And that they're switching over to this OPSEC approach, that they're switching over more towards phishing, that they're increasingly targeting the Web 2 infrastructure that underlays all crypto, is a sign of their impending defeat. Because believe me, solving for and protecting that infrastructure is a hell of a lot easier than spending the last decade trying to figure out how to make code that can't go wrong. It's a hell of a lot easier than that. So now you know, very high level, where the future is going. You know that security is the last great unsolved problem in crypto today, that the other wars for useful products and for regulatory victory are already won, and that if we can unlock crypto with security, if we can make this technology truly safe, then it just becomes a no-brainer for institutions around the world to bring not mere trillions, but tens of trillions, possibly more than that, on-chain. And what we'll see is tokenization of massive scale of deposits and assets all around the world, incredible amounts of value moving on-chain, and ultimately every company adopting these rails because it just makes sense. But the base of that, the core of that, is just you and all of your money being safe on this new technology. And now you see that in a few short years, unequivocally and unquestionably, we are going to be there. So that's the high level, guys. That's the high level presentation from me. I invite all of you guys, if this interests you, if you are building a protocol and you want these best possible defenses, if you would like to see what an integrated version of this stack looks like end-to-end, made as efficient and effective as possible, then let me know. Reach out to me on Telegram or send me an email or check the QR code. We'd be happy, excited to show you how this product works and how it's going to absolutely change how you look at security. And if you're wondering generally, hey, is this industry going to be here in the way that I need? Is this market going to be growing in the future? Well, guys, it really is just the work of spreading the word now. The hardest part of it is behind us. Now, if we just adopt these relatively simple measures, we put in practice what already works, we're going to have a crypto that truly does eat the rest of the world and eat the rest of finance. We're just a few steps away. That's everything on the presentation, guys. I hope it was a little helpful.
All right, thank you so much. Give a round of applause. We do have some time for some questions. I personally don't love funding North Korea, and so love what you're doing. Anyone else have questions? Nope.
Oh, there's one question.
One question.
There's a brave man there, dares to speak up in public. Good for you.
Hi, thank you for the talk, first of all. So we have seen hackers not getting paid for submissions, not specifically in your platform, of course, but like across the space. Why haven't you integrated any zero-knowledge proof-of-exploit solution to your platform?
Great question. So for context, everybody, this security stack is made up of multiple parts. In my view, one of the most important of those is bug bounties. And the challenge with bug bounties is it's a difficult, contentious negotiation where it's not always clear how to size and how to value these assets. So how do we create those assurances? Now, one of those proposed solutions is an experimental technology called zero-knowledge proof, specifically zero-knowledge proof of exploit. Can we demonstrate that a vulnerability does exist without having to disclose its contents? Because if we disclose the contents of that vulnerability, we give up all our leverage in the negotiation, and it becomes much more difficult to get the fair market value, I would say, for a vulnerability. Now, I think there's a few questions. Why haven't we integrated zero knowledge? Well, from our point of view, zero knowledge proof of exploit is not a particularly meaningful or helpful. I shouldn't say that. I think it would be helpful. I don't think it's going to be a game changer in helping security researchers. The problem is upstream of that. When we're looking at how do we solve security at this part of the stack, and remember, every part of the security stack is undergoing constant work, constant optimization to improve it. The central challenge is with customers, right, and protocols. Can they agree and commit to healthy commercial terms up front and bind themselves to that? The central challenge is not so much we could do something like zero-knowledge proof of exploit without zero-knowledge proofs at all, just by doing a kind of escrow system where we or another trusted party can go and review the vulnerability before that we disclose it, okay? And in some cases, we have experimented with this kind of model. So we did like zero-knowledge proof of exploit before it even existed, in a way. Not as fancy, not as private and safe, but effectively the same thing with a trusted third party. But the challenge you get is the legalities and the commercial negotiations. And everybody has an incentive in these types of arrangements to squeeze, to get the best price for themselves. It takes a lot of courage for a project to be forward-thinking, to invest in their security reputation, to invest in their, I would say, their overall defensive system by cultivating a good reputation with the broader security community and showing that they're actively investing in that, including by setting very clear standards on how payouts should occur. The central challenge we see on the payout front has nothing to do with zero-knowledge proof of exploits and won't be solved by that, because the customers will simply refuse to engage with that system and call it blackmail and illegal activity, okay? They'll just take their toys and they'll go home. The central problem is moving more customers towards an area where there are clear commercial assurances. We basically need to make it safe to do business on-chain. And right now, people take advantage of the fact that everybody's doing regulatory arbitrage, and it's hard to sue, and it's hard to find, and blah, blah, blah. The solutions to that is building clear commercial arrangements into the contracts, the boring stuff, and putting legal safeguards in place, which we did by creating the world's first court for bug bounties, an arbitration solution, so that you can sue anybody. Doesn't matter. If they don't want to pay, you can sue them anywhere in the world and force said claim from the best arbitrators in the world, which are in London, to any country that is a signatory of the New York Convention, which is basically everybody other than like Sudan, Yemen, and South Korea. North Korea, sorry. The South Koreans agree. North Korea. Big qualification there. So these are the solutions. And the key there, it's not like this is an unsolved problem. It's like we need people to play nice and be trustworthy, and there's no like strong-arming solution that's going to make this market work at scale. It will destroy the market, in fact. But the challenge is getting customer adoption. Okay, we know what to do to make transactions safe, to make things fair ultimately. But are customers willing to adopt it? Can we make them adopt it? Really, this is our challenge at Immunefi, to bring this whole stack of solutions, especially here on the bug bounty side, and make it really work, and make it work at massive scale across hundreds of customers and a huge amount of DeFi TVL trending towards all of it. Today, we protect the majority of DeFi TVL, but we really need to head towards more. So anyways, that's the whole zero-knowledge proof of exploit situation in a nutshell. You know, nerdy commercial problems between security players. Very important stuff, but nerdy. Any other questions?
I think that's it.